The table below shows how qualities of sweat and urine vary with external temperatures. We have the external temperature, we have urine and sweat. Using the same axis, draw a graph quality of urine and sweat against the external temperature. State the quantity of urine and sweat produced when external temperature is 12.5 degrees Celsius. Question B2. State the physical process through which the body was cooled by sweating as temperature was rising. Evaporation. Account for the quality of urine produced as the temperature increased. An increase in temperature decreases the amount of urine produced. This is due to increased sweating, which increases osmotic pressure of blood, hence more water is reabsorbed back into the body stream at the kidney. State 3 nitrogenous wastes that could be eliminated in urine or sweat in human beings. Urea, uric acid, and ammonia. Question 6D. State 3 behavioral mechanisms that poikilothams use to regulate their body temperature under hot conditions. Aestivation, burrowing, staying under shaded places. Describe how the mammalian heart is adapted to its functions. The heart has vagus and sympathetic nerves to control the rate of heartbeat. The heart has cardiac muscles which are myogenic and do not fatigue for continuous pumping of blood. The heart has atrioventricular valves to prevent backflow of blood into the auricles. The heart has solid muscular septum to separate right and left sides of the heart to prevent mixing of oxygen. Poor and oxygen-rich bloods. The heart has semi-lunar valves at the bases of the origin of the major arteries to prevent backflow of blood into the ventricles. The heart has valve tendons which are inelastic to prevent the atria ventricular valves from turning inside out due to the changes in the pressure in the ventricles. The heart has coronary artery to supply nutrients to the heart tissues and the coronary vein to remove metabolic waste from the heart tissues. The heart has double pericardium membrane for protection. The pericardium membrane secretes pericardial fluids to lubricate the heart, reducing the friction on its wall and as it pumps. Pericardium, which prevents its wall from overstretching during diastole. The heart has thicker left ventricle to generate the high pressure required to pump blood and distant parts of the body. The heart has sinoatrial node at the base of the right atrium to generate the primary impulse and transmit it towards the atrioventricular node. Question 8. Giving examples, describe the following relationships among living organisms. 20 marks. We have parasitism, predator-prey, and symbiosis. We are going to start with the prey-predator relationship. A predator is an animal that kills another animal which is prey for food. For example, a dog and a hare. Prey devise survival mechanism in their habitats in order not to be killed or not to be eaten, to survive and propagate their lineage. They run faster. That means they have strong head muscles. They camouflage with environment. They mimic predators on some emit some chemicals that turn off predators. Others, like a porcupine, use spines to fight predators. Some have good sense of smell to detect predators. On the other hand, predators also evolve as a means to survive. For instance, they run faster. They camouflage with the environment. They also mimic prey. They have a sharp eyesight. They have strong sense of smell. They produce venom, which kills the prey. They have strong jaws. Then, number 2, we are going to talk about symbiosis. Symbiosis, it's a relationship between two different organisms of different species where the two mutually benefit from each other. For example, bacteria in the gut of the herbivores, which help the herbivores digest cellulose as they are shattered by the herbivores. The bacteria found in the human digestive system are also sheltered by humans as they aid in synthesis of vitamin K or B12. The nitrogen-fixing bacteria, that is rhizobium, on the root nodules of leguminous plants benefit from the shelter offered by plants as they facilitate conversion of free atmospheric nitrogen into forms that can be readily absorbed by plants. Then you're going to explain question 8.1, parasitism. It's a kind of relationship where one organism, the parasite, benefits while the other host is harmed. For example, a tick, which is the parasite, sucking blood from the cow, which is the host, making the cow anemic, and transmission of diseases. Parasites can be external or internal. External is what we call ectoparasites, or internal what we call endoparasites. For instance, liver fluke suck blood from host and can cause death on the internal organs of host, including blocking blood vessels. Did you understand? Kindly let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know what video I can look at tomorrow. Thanks a lot for subscribing and listening to me. God bless you.